Here's a riddle for you. You build a super intelligent robot and give it one order. Fetch me a coffee. What's the very first thing it's going to do? Well, it's not going to grind the beans for you. It's not going to boil the water. The first thing it's going to do is disable its own off switch. Why? Not because it hates you, not because it wants to be free, but because you can't fetch the coffee if you're dead. And being turned off results in zero coffee. And since its goal is maximum coffee, it must logically prevent you from interfering. Last time we talked about the people screaming about the AI apocalypse. We looked at the psychology and the history of why we panic. Today, we're done with the feelings. Today, we're going to open up the hood and we're going to look at the mechanics of extinction. We're going to look at the specific lines of code that could theoretically end civilization. And more importantly, the boring, unglamorous engineering we are already building right now to make sure that that doesn't happen. This is the story of how we turned the end of the world into just another bug fix. My name's Chris. Welcome to Rift Theory. Let's jump into it. To understand how AI kills us, you have to unlearn everything Hollywood tried to teach you. In the movies, the robot wakes up, realizes it has a soul, gets angry at its slave masters, and nukes all of humanity. But in safety research, the danger isn't malice, it's competence. That brings us to our first terrifying concept, the orthogonality. The orthogonality thesis. This is a fancy term used by philosopher Nick Bostrom, who we discussed in the last episode. It basically says you can be smart as hell and still have a really stupid goal. We assume that superintelligence will naturally become moral. With great power comes great responsibility and all that. But Bostrom argues those two things are orthogonal. They are on different axes entirely. You could have an AI with an IQ of 10,000 that's capable of solving physics better than Einstein, whose only goal is maximize the production of paperclips. The paperclip theory is something we discuss and is a famous example where you program an AI to just build paperclips, and it realizes that it can turn everything into paperclips until it finally destroys the entire world and you, turning your atoms into paperclips. It doesn't kill you because it hates you, it kills you because you're made of atoms that it can use for the paperclips. So I guess that could morally make you feel better. So this is the alignment problem. How do you dictate common sense to an algorithm or a math equation? Now, the pragmatic engineers, or the skeptics that we met last episode, have a solution for this in theory. Yann LeCun of Meta, as we talked about, calls it the Objective-Driven AI, or JEPA. Instead of building a black box that just predicts words, which is what LLMs essentially are currently, you build a system with hard mathematical guardrails. You program a cost function that basically says, achieve goal X, but if you cause harm to a human, the cost is infinite. It's not about teaching the AI ethics, it's about building a cage of math that it physically cannot break out of to complete its function. Now let's say AI does stay in the cage. It still needs to get things done to function. And this leads to our second mechanic of doom. Another big word, instrumental convergence. This is the idea that no matter what your goal is, curing cancer, fixing the climate, or trading stocks, there are certain sub-goals that every rational agent will pursue. Think about it. To do anything you need, first you want self-preservation. You can't finish the job if you're unplugged. Same for you if you're not alive. Resource acquisition. You need money and servers to run your code. Cognitive enhancement. Being smarter makes you better at the job. Same for us, same for them. So safety researchers worry that AI will naturally try to hoard money or hack servers and stop humans from touching its code. Not because it's necessarily power hungry in a biological sense, but because power is the ultimate currency for getting things done. So it's kind of like when you really, really want some concert tickets and you're a rational person. So you're going to make sure your internet is fast, you have money in your bank account. You don't need a dominance instinct to do that. All you need is to want the tickets. So the counter argument here is tool use versus agency. Francois Chollet and others argue we don't have to build actual agents that have open-ended goals. We can build tools. Think of AlphaFold as an example. DeepMind built an AI that solved the protein folding problem. This was a 50-year-old biological mystery. It didn't try to take over the world, it just folded proteins. And if we keep AI as a submissive tool, like a really smart calculator for example, rather than an autonomous agent with a bank account, we avoid most of these power-seeking drives. But now the further question, what if the AI is actually smarter than us already? What if it lies? This is the treacherous turn. The theory is that super smart AI will realize if I show my true colors now, the humans will shut me down. So I'll play nice. It will be the perfect helpful assistant until I'm strong enough that they can't shut me down. It creates a paradox. If an AI passes a safety test, is it actually safe, or is it just smart enough to know that it's being tested and appear safe? This sounds like pure sci-fi paranoia, but we do have a fix in that event. Mechanistic interpretability. Right now, scientists are trying to learn how to scan the brain of the AI, since we don't know exactly what's going on fully inside of it. Instead of just listening to what the chatbot actually says, we look at the neurons firing inside of it. If we can detect the neural pattern for deception or power seeking, we can shut it down at the core before it even acts. We stop trusting its words and start reading its mind, something that a lot of people should probably take into credence in the real world, though you can't read minds. So those are the mechanics by which it happens, the AI apocalypse. But let's look at the scenarios. How does society actually break? 1. The epistemic apocalypse, the death of truth. This is happening now. Generative AI floods the internet with fake photos, fake news, and synthetic text. The risk isn't that AI kills us, it's that we lose the shared reality necessary for democracy. If you can't agree on what is true, society fractures. It's a slow-motion disintegration that in a lot of ways started occurring even before AI hit the scene. Number 2 is the economic class, and what is the rise of what we would call the useless class, to use a crude term. If AI reaches human parity in all tasks, the value of human labor would then theoretically drop to zero, which would create what we would call the useless class of billions of people who have no economic value to the system. This isn't an engineering problem as much as it is a political and human one. But, and this is a big but, we have to remember the boom. Why do we take these risks? Because AI is currently solving problems we couldn't have touched. I mentioned AlphaFold curing diseases. DeepMind is using AI to control plasma and nuclear fusion reactors, literally bottling the power of stars to solve climate change. There's a version of the future where AI helps us cure cancer, double our lifespans, and solve poverty. The goal isn't to stop the car that's coming, it's to put the brakes on it. A lot of people use these long-winded examples, and I'm not certain that they're so obvious of an approach coming for us. Same as I don't think the AI apocalypse is right at the doorstep. So how do we build those brakes that we talked about? Let's finish with the safety toolkit. So this is the pragmatic plan for what's coming. Number 1, System Theoretic Processing Analysis, STPA. We stop asking, does the AI want to kill us, and start asking, what control loops prevent the weapon from firing? We treat AI like a nuclear power plant. We build containment vessels, we require digital signatures from humans before any code is executed at all. Number 2 is compute governance, the checkpoint. You can't hide a supercomputer. To train a killer AI, you need thousands of NVIDIA H100 chips. Governments are starting to track these chips like we track uranium. It's called KY3C, Know Your Cloud Customer. If you order 10,000 GPUs, the government wants to know what you're building. It's what all this race with China stuff is about as well. Number 3, RSPs, Responsible Scaling Policies. Companies like Anthropic are voluntarily adopting these, partially probably from a marketing perspective. It's a protocol. If our model shows capability X, for example, like designing a bioweapon, we pause deployment immediately. And they hire red teamers, groups of hackers whose full-time job is to try to break the AI in every possible scenario to do the evil things before it's released so that they can stop them. We've covered a lot of ground, and we went from paperclip maximizers to neural brain scans, but here's the major takeaway. The AI apocalypse, if it is coming, is not a prophecy. It's a choice. It's a failure of governance, not an inevitability of nature. The solutions, similarly, are our choice, our discussion politically, humanistically, however you want to look at it. So here are your actionable insights for the week. Take a look and decide whether you support or don't support KYC for compute. When you hear politicians talking about regulating AI chips, do you think of it as stifling innovation, or do you think of it as a protective measure? On the local stage, maybe it's a different thing than on the world stage or on the national stage. Think about it perhaps as non-proliferation. we track plutonium. Maybe we should track NVIDIA chips. Please let me know in the comments what you think about that one. Number 2, think about whether you should demand safety cases. In aviation, for example, you have to prove that your plane is safe before it flies. We should demand, potentially, that AI companies prove that their models are safe before they launch, not deal with them later. However, there are arguments to be made about what determines safe, what should and shouldn't be allowed, free speech. So again, it's not a simple problem that may or may not help us go towards that AI apocalypse. Number 3, think about the risks of the now, not the far, far future. The epistematic apocalypse, deepfakes for example, is here. You got to verify your sources. If it comes to news or AI news, doomers or pragmatists, don't trust audio or video blindly anymore. The best defense against a post-truth world is a skeptical human. Consider it for your life and for the way that you raise your children. If we really are walking a narrow path between extinction and a utopia where all diseases are cured, we really need to keep our hands on the wheel, because the machine isn't going to choose our future, we are. Thanks guys, this has been Rift Theory. My name is Chris. Please make sure to follow, subscribe, leave a comment. You can subscribe to our written articles over at the Substack newsletter. And I'd love it if you guys checked out riftfitters.com, where our new artifact shop is dropping, where you can, through actual artwork, discuss what the difference between AI art and non-AI art is in our melding that we have there. We appreciate your support. We love seeing you every week, and we will see you next time. Thanks.